As we go through life, we will meet a variety of people and we'll build complicated personal relationships with them. There are various types of relationships, such as friend, work, romantic, and family relationships. It is important to remember that relationships are as individual and different as the people who are a part of them. There are different expectations in every relationship. Sometimes these expectations are made clear by talking about them, but other times they're just unspoken rules that develop as people spend time together. In this series, we're going to talk about different aspects of relationships from different point of views with Dr. MAKON FARDIS, ANOUSHA, Adam, and SANAZ. Today's topic is about spying in a relationship. Would you check his or her emails, Facebook, phone, to check on him or her, and why? So SANAZ, let's start with you. We kind of discussed this before the show. You were mentioning that you are for spying, that you think it's something that should be done in a relationship. Can you elaborate more on that?
Okay, so very short answer is yes, it's okay to do it, but you have to be ready for the consequences. Sometimes it can help, sometimes it can hurt. It depends on the relationship.
Let's not talk about the consequences. Okay. Why would you do that in the first place? Why do you think you should do that without?
I don't think we are all 100% honest with each other. No one is 100% secret free, nothing to hide, nothing to share, a text to someone, an email to someone else. You're never going to know until you take it into your own hands. So
don't you think there needs to be something that would trigger that you need to spy on that before, like rather than like randomly just from the beginning start spying on him?
I mean,
shouldn't
maybe just to know. I mean, I don't know. It depends how nosy you are. I'm a pretty nosy person. Okay. I'm very curious, and I like to know what's going on. If there is a text message, if I hear a little ding, and he's next to me, yeah, I'll be like, who is that? You know, oh, my mom. Okay. Like later, I might check it when he's not there.
ANOUSHA, what's your point of view?
I just want to. When he's in the shower, like I'll do it when he's not there, of course.
Let's get her.
The smartest way.
What's your point of view? Are you for it, against it?
I'm not against it, and I'm somewhat for it. Like SANAZ said, you know, it kind of depends on the relationship, the person you're checking up on. You know, if you have that instinct within yourself that tells you to, you know, maybe there's something there, maybe you should check, maybe you need to spy on them.
What is that instinct? Like, what makes you get to that point? Is it like him coming home late or not responding to your phones or hiding his phone?
So let's take it way back, right? So when a relationship first begins, it's two people who don't know each other, right? So there's really no trust. Some people, they trust, and some people are the type of people where they feel like they need to earn someone's trust through time, right? Some people start out with trust and you either lose it or keep the trust, and or you start with zero trust and you work towards gaining trust. Nevertheless, I personally don't start with a lot of trust. I start with a little bit of trust in someone, and even if they don't prove me wrong, I'm kind of the curious type too, where I feel like I want to make sure that they continue being truthful. I don't call it spying, I call it audits. And I think sometimes people are open to random audits here and there. Even
people are open, or?
I mean, the person I'm with is, what's the word I'm looking for? Suspect to it, or what's the word I'm looking for?
They deserve it?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, there's always, like, I'm the IRS and everyone is prone to like random audits.
So she's saying trust, right? Adam, do you think there should be a blind trust at the beginning, or like as she said, like start from the bottom and then build that trust as you go along? So what's your point of view?
So I'm the clip opposite of what I'm hearing. I believe that you should be trusting in 100% and not spy whatsoever. There's no reason why you should spy on the other person. If that person does something to betray your trust, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for you to have entertained that. But I think that every person deserves the right to be free. Free in their actions, free in their beliefs, free in everything that they do, without any judgment. You allow them to make it. Sooner or later, the truth will come out. So why burden yourself with an extra responsibility? Why add an assignment to the life that you have? Why make it much more of a task to try to inhibit one's free intuition and free spirit?
I don't think it's a burden, though. I mean, to me, it's really comfortable and natural to just do it. Yeah, I just think that if you're that close with someone, you should share your. I mean, the phone is so big now. You know, why is the phone so private? You share all these other moments together. You should be open with the phone, the passcodes, everything should be open.
So I feel like actually that this path is one that never ends. So I guess if you start with the premise of lack of trust or no trust, and then the other person has to prove themselves to you, this is never going to end. There won't be ever a time when that person is 100% proven trustworthy to you.
No.
And then you can relax and say to yourself that, well, I know this person 100% now, and I can calm down. So see what I'm saying? The point is this is a losing battle, and it's an unending path.
Yeah.
I think it's an unending path, one, for the reason you said, but two, also in the world we live in, with the interconnectedness of the internet, with all the opportunities and options available at our fingertips. You just, maybe in the past without cell phones, without internet, you could trust your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or friend or mother, whomever, children more, but now it's a lot more room for mishap. So it's kind of a way of making sure everyone stays on track. Stay in your lane.
Why is that responsibility with you?
Right, I think the point is well taken. Social media does affect.
Who's going to do it on their own? Who's going to be like, what I'm doing isn't really right here.
No. What it is, and I can
Let me just talk to myself.
There's three things that need to be brought up. Three things that are critical. One is because technology obviously has played a big role in it. The fact that instant text messages are so quick, social media, DMs and Instagram are so quick. People get intimidated by that because you have access to more people. People can influence your lives, and there's always those crazies that just want to come into your life and affect it. So yeah, you want to protect your own. I completely understand.
Right.
But it shouldn't be your job. And the reason that burden is, I think that if you do have to put more effort and more worry and anxiety up to the point that you're reading it and so forth, and that's just it's so overbearing and tiring.
I don't do it all the time. It's just when and then honestly, if I'm not interested in knowing, like I just don't care anymore, I won't
Let's talk about an experience. When was the last time you actually spied on somebody, like your significant other? And what?
I spy on my mom.
What?
Like,
not your parents. No.
Like I check or open her phone. I'm like, Mom, why are you talking with this friend of ours? I thought yeah.
But
I mean,
parents are different. Parents are different. Your significant other. My question is, what triggered that doing that? What triggered? What triggered you to do that from the beginning?
Nothing really. It's just always been my personal.
So it was more like a curiosity, personality.
And look, it actually ended up
but
being
what
good
sparked
because
your curiosity? I think where he's going. That might be
nothing. Being a male, he's not God. He's another male.
So males are prone to fail.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I know myself. If we end up like having a little flirty text message with someone when we're in a relationship, if we're capable of that, can you just imagine what the other side is? So yeah,
Adam,
I'm not gonna 100%.
Adam, you said you were against this, but let's talk about your experience. Have you ever done that?
Absolutely.
Honestly, you've done that.
Absolutely, but rightfully so. No, this is. Have I ever done? Yes. Have I ever?
And what triggered you to do that? So
the person.
Cheated on a relationship a long time ago, and since then, and
wait, you've cheated on?
I have cheated. Yeah. So part of it is the insecurity of maybe what I've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or self-doubt or self
that's true.
What's the word where it's like you're upset about?
Self-doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But let's get back to Adam.
The person has maybe a lot of attention.
Guilt, self-guilt.
That's
the reason that.
Let's get back to Adam.
You feel karma's going to catch up.
Adam,
Sure.
tell me your experience. What triggered that?
So it was all about the partner that I was with, right? And so yeah, the partner sometimes. At the initial phases, you don't have that level of respect towards each other, or you might not know each other enough to value that relationship enough, and so you're keeping your options open. So that might spark it, depending on the person too. So some people, it's clever to have a quantity of people that you're dating, and then for you to sort out, and that's how it happens. But in instances where you're moving closer to wanting to date somebody, to be with them, and at the same time they're kind of not unknown or uncertain, then that was what resulted in me kind of being a little bit more curious to know. Now, in terms of spying, I would say the extent of it was that I would look on their social media and maybe even make a conscious effort to look at the comments or the likes of that person.
See?
But I don't think that I would ever look through their, I think that's a little overextended.
If you had the opportunity and it was just like, oh, come on.
I think if it was laying down like candy, I still would control myself and say that if I wanted to find
There's
something,
a
I
reason
probably
why
could.
that would be situations.
Dr.
like that.
Fardis, how healthy is
The
this?
opportunity to do your own research.
I'm really curious to see why one would start with at a point with lack of trust, or one would. I see that as a starting at below zero. It's not even zero, which is being neutral towards another person, and I feel like there's some perhaps line of thinking that would advocate here at least for starting below zero, and I really am curious to understand
Maybe,
why.
doctor, I need an appointment with you. I mean, I consider myself a very loyal person when I love someone, so it was weird. I like what Anousha says, just checking up on someone. It's just checking up on them, just keeping them in check.
What about actually starting with this premise that this is how people are, that people are fluid and you can't fixate their fluidity by constant checking on them.
But can you?
That even loyal people can make mistakes. And this is, in fact, why not start with this as an understanding of how humans are, and developing some degree of comfort with this.
So you're saying to start with the blind trust when you have a relationship?
I don't
is
even
that?
want to blind this is a negative way of describing trust.
Not smart.
Okay.
So I feel like unless there is a particular reason for spying on a particular person, I don't see it as justifiable, and I tell you why. Because I feel like, yes, I actually want to refer back to what you said, SANAZ, earlier today, which is there are some gains and there are some consequences. I see the gains as relatively small and the potential damage as relatively large. The general principle is seek and you shall find, and yes, if you look enough into somebody's life, you will find things and places where they make mistakes.
You don't agree with, or
you will find that.
Yeah.
And then guess what's going to happen after that? You confront the person with it. And then do you think they're going to break down and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you're such a wonderful person, I apologize, this is never going to, this is not going to happen. What they're going to do is become defensive and accuse you in return, and this is the point and this is at the point at which your trust of them is gone, and then you are the bad person because you actually broke into their device.
Right. So sue me. I mean, I don't trust you. Oh well. So Dr. Fardis, my question to you is: do you think it's generational? For instance, in a different generation, you get married, there's less dating. You know, you trust your spouse. Is it different today because people aren't getting married sooner? There's all sorts of different relationships.
You're talking about generational, as in, or
do you think it's a
like
maybe
age phase?
Is it, or just times? Just do you think?
I don't have any data to support that now people are cheating more than before. I don't know if that's the case.
It's just they get caught more.
Well, that is true because of social media. They get caught more.
Yeah, I think it gets harder right now. But I think because right now you're more in open communication between people with Snapchat stories, Facebook comments. Anybody can comment on your wall. You can see. So I think like back then it was easier to, if you want to hide. So I think it gets harder now. So.
I think, and I'm going to say, I think Persian men, for instance, if you're dating one, and let's say you're dating this girl.
I'm dating a Persian man.
Talk to me about it.
Okay, so you see this girl that you're dating on Facebook, and she likes a photo of another one of her friends. See, no, you would have a small problem with that. Why is she liking another man's photo?
That's what I'm saying.
It's so easy for these things to come up and have issues. I mean,
so I have a case in point with that.
Okay, so
So it was like 2 weekends ago, and we were out, and later that night, after being out in DC, we went home, and I looked through his phone, just on Instagram, he was sleeping, and I look at what he searched, and I saw that he searched one of the females that was at the event we were at. So in my head, I'm like, what would cause him to have that curiosity from a psychological point of view to even search for that girl in the first place, right?
I mean, maybe
it's
he
not
had
the issue.
Nice shoes on, and he was trying to buy them shoes for you.
Yes, of course. That's exactly. So what it was.
Right now.
Wait, so
one at a time.
I thought they were attractive and interesting, and I want to find out more.
And you have a boyfriend.
Maybe.
But see, that's wrong, though.
So that is
at least when he does.
No, it's nothing. It's nothing wrong. It's human nature.
It is human nature,
but he knows. He sees me on Facebook just looking at random people.
Yeah.
He knows that's what I do. I get bored easily. He cannot keep my attention 100% of the day. He knows that.
Yeah.
But the chances of me pursuing anything or going any further.
So this is an important point, which is I feel like so let me see if this is actually contradicting something you said a little earlier, which is right now I think you are talking about the distance between thought and action. And this is something we all are familiar with, that we may have a certain thought, but we may not necessarily act on it. And then if you want to sort of become the thought police and kill whatever thoughts or monitor and supervise whatever thought your partner has, even though there is no intention to act on it,
then but how do you know there's no intention?
That's like Kim Jong-un, like King North Korean.
I hate that guy.
No, but that's like the mentality of him. Like think this way and be this way. See, where is the spirit, free spirit?
Okay.
Where is the love?
I know.
Well, we're not talking about politics here, so let's not change the path.
Dr. Fridays after the show.
No.
Sort of
by no means. Just tell you, you're very in a normal train of like I don't
really honest.
judge you for that, and I think that that's a very empowered, and you know what you want, and you're protective of what you have, and by no means is it negative. So it's not.
Proud of it,
you should be proud of that fact.
Honest, so
but from my just trains of thought, I think that it's even called blind trust because it's such a radical version, a way of putting it. But when you put that person in and say, here is your life, live your life, be free. As humans, we want to be. We want to have that liberty. We want to have our freedom. Now, when you make commitments of promises of marriage, you're essentially saying that, yeah, those things are gone. So that spying at that point becomes, I would think, pointless. But up to that point, do as you may. But my approach would be, let's until the day that we want to make that promise, let's be free with each other.
I think a little bit of it is protectiveness, at least from a female perspective. For one, male, bringing gender into the equation, there's differences between females and males, right? Males can get older and they still can get younger women, right? Sure. And they have no issues most likely,
so
right?
Can women.
Yes, they can, but you either have to be wealthy or very good looking and in shape. there's contingencies to it.
Famous.
So one
let me finish my thought for a second. So from a woman in a relationship, especially in an area such as the DMV, DC metropolitan area, where there are more women than men, last I checked. Last I checked. I may not, but last I checked. As women, I think some of us that are more curious and lean to the caring versus being carefree. I think it's a part of it is protectiveness, where you want to protect what you have. So you're going to not really spy on them, but spy on them, trying to put a wall from other women trying to come at them and take them from you.
So I just want to bring up one critical point to that effect.
In the sense of being protective and not wanting, monitoring them to make sure they don't get off their track.
I just want to bring something up.
Stay on
and
your
you
track.
guys have every, but this needs to be said. So both of you guys are both of you females, respectively, have admitted that you guys have cheated on your prior, but yet you guys want to now, want to protect, want to protect what is yours. Me, as the male, I have never cheated on a relationship.
Good for you.
And I'm not protective because I've never been in a relationship, let alone to cheat on it.
Maybe he's still in denial about that time.
But the point, the point is though that you guys, if you've admitted, so why are you guys trying to protect? Is it because maybe something in you?
Yes, it is. It's psychological. Yeah, no, 100%.
So maybe had I
not cheated, maybe my mindset would be different.
I started looking up some woman at the event that they were at.
But that he probably he had
was
no did he
curious.
message or no? Did he do
Who
anything
knows
wrong?
what? I mean,
He
but
didn't.
At
No,
least
he
she
didn't.
knows. In the back of her head, she has this
This is
record.
false sense of security. If you feel like you know, and by this knowledge, you somehow have developed a sense of control over the universe. This is where the fallacy comes in. That you feel like if I know, then therefore I'm in control. What I'm suggesting is drop that sense of control. You're never
Yeah.
going to have
Stop
that
it.
control.
No, it's true. You're right.
Nothing. This is the
Learn-
idea
learn
of-
to live with
I
it.
want to
Okay.
go back to what Adam said a little
Okay.
earlier, which is if a person is one that you cannot be somewhat comfortable with, that's just not the good relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be comfortable with anyone.
One thing they mentioned, like what triggered them to know. Like for me, I thought it was usually like somebody cheated on you, and that's what that trust is over. But for them, it's like they've made that mistake, and they want to make sure somebody else is not making their mistake.
I don't
So
think
what do
it
you think,
matters.
Bruno?
I don't think it matters as much who the offender was. If a person has been hurt psychologically, and I feel like you can be hurt if somebody cheats on you, or if you cheat on somebody else, they can both be damaging. This is a wound. You need to heal this wound before you can be in a relationship in a meaningful way. As long as the wound is not healed, then it's going to come in somehow in our life. So I don't think it matters a whole lot in terms of whether the person has been the perpetrator or the victim. An event happened and there was no resolution with that event, and that's going to cast a shadow in that person's life.
Well, I know a lot of people who've looked at their other significant others, maybe web pages. They found really bad stuff. I mean, downloading really bad pictures, really inappropriate things, and it's ruined relationships. I mean, but they would have never found out had they not have that instinct to go and look and maybe save themselves from 3 more years of misery.
That saves you nothing. That's
Yeah,
why.
it saves-
Well,
that's
so
my
just
point.
keep living in this like
My
Oblivious,
point actually-
ignorance is
So
bliss
here's the thing,
mindset.
that
No,
I
you're
don't.
right. What you don't know can't hurt you. But then is that being smart?
I think so.
Doctor, what do you?
I think so. It's not the doctor may say, from a standpoint of the emotional distress that you feel and so forth, and the consequences that are. But I think that in life you can only be true to yourself most than anyone. That's the number one person. You're living with yourself. You're seeing yourself in the mirror every day, and that's the person you have to have a good conscience with. I can't, in my good conscience, say that my job has changed from partner to enforcer or auditor or spy. In no way. Because
No,
that's
I'm not saying you have to. It's just when you're comfortable.
So I got one question.
Some
What do you
people just
guys?
know better than
I need your opinion on this one. What do you guys think about open spying? Like for example, with all this
Let me see.
share tracking and all that stuff.
What
So
is
you can share your location with
Location, yeah.
another person, and that person can always know where you are. So Anousha, I feel like you
Yeah.
want to add something to
Yeah,
that.
so like you said, my boyfriend and I, we both have each other's passwords to most things, not everything, most things. But, we both are open to each other for open auditing. So I know that he'll do it to me once in a while, and I'll do it to him once in a while.
Do you think, Dr. Farah, do you think there should be some sort of sense of...
Delete.
One second.
Let's get this ready.
But you don't know what it's
let
going
me
to
go
be.
ask-
I do it.
Let me ask Dr. Faris. So, what do you think about some sort of, like she said there, like share passwords or share locations and all that stuff?
That's a good question. I
Do
feel
you
like,
think there should be a privacy?
I feel like having a mutual agreement on what the definition of spying is important, because one person might feel like what they're doing is legitimate, and they're looking at everything about the partner, and the other person might feel very strongly that this is a violation of privacy. I feel like it's much less problematic if there's a mutual agreement and people share passwords with each other and they have a mutual understanding that this is what we might do to one another. I feel like any couple is free to do that. But let me, as we're getting close to the end of our program, let me put an idea out and see how people feel about it. I feel like maybe I come from a certain perspective in which I believe that people have mysteries about them. And that's actually what's interesting and exciting and good about people. And one shouldn't even move in the direction of killing and eliminating all mystery about the other person. That's really, I want to put this on the table for see what people think about it.
So when you say mystery, what do you mean mystery, right? It's like mystery of who they've been with in the past. Are those people going to come in their future? Mystery of like the places they've traveled, like certain things. In what sense, though? You know, it's like the mystery of their past. I'm not one to like want to know every person they've dated or anything and like go stalk them. There are some people like that. I don't care. I'm like, you know, that was your past. But I don't know about the whole mystery thing. Mystery is exciting, but I feel like when you've been with someone for so long, which not I have, but like some people with 30 years of marriage, what other mystery? Like mystery of who they're talking to behind your back, or like, you know, I don't know.
Right. Doctor, you're right. That mystery that you shouldn't spy, because the topic is spying, and in connection with what you're saying about mystery being there will assist or will maintain and preserve the relationship and the interest in the relationship. I do agree with that. And I think that when you keep that sense of mystery, that sense of unknown, that keep uncertainty, sometimes it converts to attraction, and sometimes it benefits and helps the relationship. I think that you're absolutely correct, and that yes, don't spy, because then it helps that mystery and it only fosters your relationship. The fact is, like, if me and you, okay, we're in any type of relationship, not necessarily boyfriend, girlfriend, but friendship, and I have something that you don't know about me, some interesting aspect that I've never told you about, and you're curious to know about it, and I give it to you in tits and pieces, right? I don't just lay it on you. Let me tell you about this trip and this trip. You would probably be more driven, like that suspense, the drama. Why is that even a theme of itself? Because of,
like, can you just tell me the story?
that's the thing, is you just have this like, and I think it might be not. Don't take this in the wrong way, but this fatigue or this impatience with boredness that doesn't allow you to really engage in the true form of dialogue, which is like, tell me about you. You don't have patience.
I guess we're running out of time. We need to wrap it up. So, as a wrap up, can you add something, your comments for the whole topic we talked about?
Let me say something about the final conversation, which is the issue of mystery. There is a possibility for us to know everything about the other person. If such a moment arrives, I guarantee you that that person is going to lose their interest and appeal to you. So you gain something, you lose something. You now know everything there is to know about that person. And in that same very breath, you now have very little interest in being with that person. There's nothing else to learn about them. This is the cost of almost like, as I said, people are fluid, and you can't crystallize their fluidity. If you crystallize it, they become uninteresting to you.
Okay, perfect. I guess that's all we have for today. Thank you all for your comments. Appreciate it. And thank you for being with us. True love isn't found, it's built.